Next great presenter is Alicia Abner, and she is undergrad student of kinesiology with human performance concentration, and today she's going to talk to us about iron deficiency and athletic performance, implication, interventions, and strategies for optimization. Alicia.
Good morning. Nice to see you all. So first we want to get into an introduction. I have a couple questions. Why is iron important for athletes? What are the main factors that affect iron status? How do iron supplements impact athletes' performance? And if iron was conceptualized as a superhero, what would its primary superpower be? Let's get into some of those answers. Iron is crucial to athletes. It is vital for the muscle function and oxygen transport. As we look at the figure over, oxygen is transported from the lungs into the red blood cells, and then it is transported to that cell. The main factors that affect iron status is intense training, diet, and for us women, menstrual cycles. Supplements for athletes that are deficient could increase their strength and overall performance, and it also increase oxygen delivery to the muscle. If iron was conceptualized as a superhero, its superpower would be super oxygen transport. As we could already notice that oxygen is very crucial to your iron status. It helps muscles get the oxygen that they need to perform at your best. And we're just going to continue with the introduction. Iron is vital for oxygen transport through hemoglobin in your red blood cells and myoglobin in the muscles, and it supports DNA synthesis, enzyme activity, and energy metabolism. The body regulates iron through 3 proteins: transferrin, which transport iron to cells; ferritin, which stores excess iron in the liver and bone marrow; and hepcidin, a hormone that controls levels by regulating absorption and release. Iron deficiency is common in athletes due to factors like exercise and, like I mentioned before, menstruation. It can affect performance. This presentation explores the impact of iron status on athletic performance and whether boosting iron levels benefit athletes regardless of their initial iron status. Okay, for the methodology, this study's objective, the mission was clear. Figure out how iron impacts athletes' performance and whether a little more iron could make athletes go from tired to enhanced human, especially when training at a high altitude or on an empty stomach. The approach, clues from past studies were gathered by looking at hemoglobin and ferritin levels, aka the iron detectives in this case. Thinking of it like a fitness mystery where iron plays the role of the unsung hero or villain depending on whether you're deficient or not. The data source. This study dug into systematic reviews of research studies on athletes, iron levels, iron deficiency, and how iron works its magic in the body for boosting iron delivery to muscles to help you not fall asleep mid-race. Falling asleep mid-race would be bad, and at that point you have lost. In the end, we want to uncover if athletes with low iron could become performance powerhouses with a little supplement boost, and whether everyone could optimize their iron levels for better performance. Spoiler alert, iron importance, but balance is key. Okay, iron deficiency in athletes. Athletes' performance and general health can be greatly impacted by low iron levels and iron insufficiency. Iron deficiency in athletes has the following main effects. It reduces muscle. Muscle contractions may weaken, and post-exercise recovery may be slower if your levels are insufficient. It reduces oxygen transport. Low iron levels impairs hemoglobin and body capacity to supply oxygen to those muscles. It increases injuries, as a risk of iron may also impair an athlete's ability to concentrate and focus on their game. It impairs recovery. Recovery may be delayed based on your oxygen levels following training and competition. So with it being delayed, you have less time to train, you have less time to compete. That puts you off your game, and then at that point, you're feeling like you're less because you're less prepared. So it impairs recovery. It reduces athletic performance. Vigorous activities known as VO2 max can be lowered by iron deficiency, strength, endurance, and general performance overall. Immune system weakness. Deficient athletes may be more prone to infection, and as we know, athletes travel all over to compete in different states, different cities, different countries even, and it may be illnesses in those said places that you may not have been exposed to. So iron could affect your immune system. Increased fatigue, chronic fatigue in athletes with low iron levels may impair their capacity to train efficiently. Anemia, iron deficiency anemia, which is a reduction in red blood cells count, can worsen fatigue, impair exercise capacity, and level recovery times. Okay. On the chart, we have iron deficient athletes and normal athletes. When it comes to oxygen transport, as a deficient athlete, it impairs due to low hemoglobin, and as a normal athlete, it is optimal transport. Your performance, you may have low endurance but high fatigue, and then as a normal athlete, no noticeable limitations. Supplements can improve hemoglobin for iron deficiency athletes, which improves your VO2 max and endurance, whereas there's no significant performance in normal athletes. But there are risks in normal athletes. The risk of toxicity, metabolic disruptions, and increased hypocine, whereas there are none in deficient athletes for each. There's to correct their deficiency. Screening for iron deficiency is essential for iron deficient athletes for is detect and catch it early, whereas in normal athletes it is important to avoid unnecessary supplements. So the key takeaways would be to, if your deficiency, taking supplements would help you help your iron levels, and then if you're not deficient, then it could cause risk as in toxicity, metabolic disruption, and increased hypocine. So as a deficient athlete, I think it's best to get screened, and essentially some athletes may not realize that they are deficient, so it's best to routinely get yourself checked. And even as a normal iron level athlete, I think routinely getting checked would still be okay. In conclusion, regularly checking iron levels like monitoring a gas tank. It's like if you're fully fueled when you get on the road, you're fine. But if you're not, you'll be on the side of the road, and that's just like with sports. Getting routinely checked, knowing that you are deficient or not. You don't want to be on the bench or on the sideline during your career. Maintaining proper iron levels help avoid fatigue, anemia, and performance issues. Balanced iron support, optimal oxygen transport, muscle power, and sharp performance. Keep iron levels in check to stay strong and perform like an iron athlete. Iron deficiency can impact performance, especially in endurance athletes. Athletes with low iron levels benefit from iron supplements. Those with adequate iron stores also see performance gain, and iron is crucial for optimal red blood cell synthesis during training. Okay, these are my references. I would like to thank Dr. K and Dr. Mabrey and GSU Symposium for allowing me to present here today. I would also like to thank everyone here today for listening, and I hope this presentation was very educational. Okay, any questions?
Quick one, with iron supplements, do you mean like pills or in a powder format?
Iron supplements, I know there are pills. There may be powder supplements, but I think pills.
Sounds good.
And also, I have a question for you guys. What challenges have you faced with iron intake in training?
I think my challenge is more training.
Mine was trying to get at least 3,000 to 10,000 calories after training twice a day.
Do anyone know if they're iron deficient or not? Okay. Do you routinely get checked?
Yes, now I do. I was iron deficient.
Okay.
I would get dizzy, tired, shortness of breath.
That's good that you caught it. Anyone else?
I've been iron deficient most of my life, so it's okay.
Any other questions?
How common is it to be the other end of the spectrum and have too much iron?
I don't think it's common. I don't think people really realize they need to get checked for iron. Because you know, as an athlete, well, as a former athlete, it's like any injury or anything that could hinder me, I would try to like not get checked for it because you know you'll be out on the game. So I think it's more coming for people to think that they're not, and for people to not get checked and not knowing into something big happens to themselves.
So, one question I have. So, too much iron is bad for the body?
It can't be. It definitely can't be.
No takers, and let's give another round of applause.